The most dangerous man that you'll ever meet, he's not going to tell you that he's dangerous. He's going to tell you that he's different. He's loving. He's protective. He's probably a self-proclaimed nice guy. But what makes a man dangerous isn't just what he does. It's how he thinks. Because behavior actually comes from a mindset. And when a man's entire worldview is built on entitlement and domination and just stripping you down to nothing, it's not just toxic, it's lethal. And when people talk about abusive men, they focus on what he did, right? He hit her, he cheated, he screamed, he controlled the money. But the most chilling truth is that these actions are not random. They come from a way of thinking, a way of seeing themselves as above you, above the rules, and above accountability. And I'm not talking about these insecure guys kind of like fumbling their way through relationships. I'm not talking about the men who ghost because they can't handle intimacy, or just men who avoid conflict because they don't know how to communicate. The men I'm talking about are the ones who know exactly what they're doing. They exploit, degrade, and destroy with precision. I'm Lisa Sonni. I'm a toxic and abusive relationship expert, author, and coach, and I have helped thousands of women recognize abuse for exactly what it is and break free. So make sure that you subscribe, because you need this information to spot the patterns and to protect yourself, because dangerous men, they're hiding in plain sight. The first thing that you need to understand is entitlement. These men do not see themselves as entitled. They see themselves as deserving. They believe that they're owed respect and sex and compliance, admiration, not because of who they are or anything that they've done, but simply because they exist. Dr. Gregory Lester has written about how entitlement is the root of narcissistic and manipulative personality traits, and research consistently shows men score higher than women in entitlement. Abusive men take that whole belief system and they run with it. Their word is the law, their mood sets the standard, and their needs always come first. This is why you've heard the lines, "I'm the head of the house, I work hard, you should be grateful." It's never a discussion, right? And it shows up in the little things too. You're dead on your feet after working and taking care of the kids, and he's sprawled out on the couch asking what's for dinner. Maybe he even tells people that he supports strong women, but the second you speak up, he mocks you. He insists you should trust him completely, but it's the same guy that keeps his phone locked and flipped face down. Gotta love the double standard, right? We're gonna come back to the double standard. Hang with me. He expects loyalty, but he betrays you. Now, a decent man might say, "Let me take this off your plate," or "Thanks for everything that you do." But a dangerous man acts like your exhaustion means that he deserves even more. And a lot of women stay because they think that he wants the same things that they want, right? Intimacy, closeness, connection. He says that. But dangerous men, they do not want love in the way that you want love. Real intimacy actually means seeing you as an equal. They can't stomach that. What they want is control, but he'll call it love. That's the trap. All those sweet texts, the gifts, those promises of forever, they're not evidence of his devotion. They are bait. And I know that at first it looks like connection because he mirrors your interests and showers you with attention and he says all the right things. You're falling in love and he is gathering intel. He's mind mapping you. He's tracking your routines, your reactions, your weak spots. He learns what makes you feel safe and what makes you feel panicked. And once you are fully invested, this guy is going to flip the switch, right? All of a sudden the affection is like rationed. Promises get broken. All of these like hooks, they start to feel like chains. And that's not failed love. It is control. Lundy Bancroft, in his book, Why Does He Do That? He makes it so crystal clear. Abusive men don't lose control. They use control. And the wild thing is that he would claim that he's doing it all for your own good, right? He's protecting you, right? But actually he's trapping you. And it gets even darker when you realize how he sees you. These men don't view women as full people. They see women as functions, right? Caregiver, sex object, maid, emotional punching bag. Cue the song Labor by Paris Paloma, ladies, because if you're useful, you're tolerated. But if you stop being useful, you're disposable. And I'm telling you, that's why he can cheat without guilt. humiliate you in front of the kids or family or friends, or just dismiss you when you are bawling your eyes out as some overreaction. In his mind, you're not a person. You're just like a broken appliance. And because he doesn't see your humanity, he doesn't feel remorse. When he calls you crazy or says you're too sensitive, he's not just stumbling through conflict, trying to figure out how to resolve it with you, and he just doesn't know how. He is telling you exactly how little your feelings actually matter to him, directly or indirectly. And women internalize this. You start to wonder, am I too sensitive? Am I asking for too much? But no, you're just dealing with someone who doesn't consider you a human being in the same way that he sees men. People like to say that abusers lack empathy. It's actually not totally true. There are different types of empathy. Emotional empathy is when you feel with someone, right? Their pain registers as pain. Cognitive empathy is knowing how someone feels without feeling it yourself. Studies like Chopik 2017 show men on average score lower in emotional empathy than women, but higher in entitlement. And abusive men, they exploit that. They may not feel your pain, right? But they can read it, they can analyze it, and they sure use it. They can mimic concern and mirror your vulnerability. They can perform remorse when it suits them. Dr. George Simon has written about this. Manipulative people don't lack empathy, they weaponize it. That's why he knows the exact words to stop you from leaving. Why can he cry at the exact moment that you're ready to walk, right? Why he pulls the whole, I'll change right when you've had enough. This is a strategy, and we act like it's some kind of breakthrough, like they're having this aha moment. And it's not that he doesn't get it. He gets it. He always got it. Imagine what could change for you if you could understand he has always understood. He doesn't care. That's what makes this so convincing, right? Because he knows how to perform right down to the timing, the tone, the sigh, the baby, I'll do better. And it's all BS. And I want to make something so clear. So many women say to me, no, my guy's not smart enough for all this. This has nothing to do with intelligence. This is their nature. This is manipulation. You do not need to be smart. He's only attempting to perform changed behavior because you leaving takes away his benefits. He's about to lose what he wants the most. And no, I don't mean you. I mean control. Then there's this paradox of their ego, right? On the surface, they strut around like they're untouchable, superior, smarter than everybody else. And underneath, they're fragile. That doesn't mean insecure, but they're fragile. Any challenge feels like annihilation. That's why rejection spirals into rage and why basically exposure is one of their ultimate threats. But abusive men, they're not just insecure. They don't just act this way because they need more self-esteem. Self-esteem is not solving any of these problems. They don't scream, they don't cheat or control you because they're immature or insecure. Abuse is not about insecurity. It is about entitlement and superiority. Even narcissists, whose egos are famously fragile, are still driven by superiority. They think they are better than other people. That's not a show. Superiority is not a mask for insecurity when you're talking about somebody with narcissistic personality disorder. That's an old, outdated myth. Fragility fuels their defensiveness, but entitlement is what drives the abuse. So teaching a man like this to feel more secure, that's not going to make him safe. His rage, his degradation, his control tactics, those aren't accidents of low confidence. They are deliberate tools, and it is meant to enforce his dominance. And accountability? That doesn't even exist. If you've ever wondered why his apologies never last, it's because to him, accountability is a performance, right? All those tears, the promises, the swearing on the kids' lives, and everything he believes in, it is not remorse. It's strategy. They don't want other people to know what they did, but it's not remorse. That's image management. Let's go back to those double standards that I just mentioned earlier. This is a man that expects instant forgiveness, right? He'll punish you for weeks over a small mistake, or worse, over a perceived mistake. But you have to explain every dollar you spend. He can buy whatever he wants without question. You're expected to move on the second that he says some fake "I'm sorry," but he drags up your missteps months later. You can't bring up the past. He absolutely can. These double standards are not slips. They are the whole design. Deep down, he doesn't believe that the rules apply to him, that they should apply to him. That's the superiority. Other men lose their jobs, other men get arrested, other men lose their families, but not him. If the worst does happen and consequences actually catch up to him, and I know that's rare, he'll twist the story until he's the victim. You're vindictive. The system is unfair. Everybody else is crazy. He's never the problem. Now, finally, let's tap into this darkest truth, okay? Your suffering isn't collateral damage. That's not just what happens. It's often the point. There is a sort of sadistic satisfaction in watching you cry and beg and collapse. It confirms his power, it feeds his ego, and it reinforces his belief in his own superiority. That's why sometimes you catch that little smirk when he's tearing you down, or why he'll laugh after he makes a really mean comment. That's why sometimes they get calmer the more panicked you become. For him, your pain isn't something to regret. It's like dessert, right? It's the bonus. Often they're doing it on purpose, being sort of sadistic and cruel, and sometimes they just don't care that you get hurt, and they'll keep doing it as long as their needs are getting met. Now, to me, this is where the cruelty is the most clear. A healthy man, even a decent man, would feel totally unsettled by your distress and your pain. But an abusive man, oh, he feels energized by it. So when you put this all together, it's clear. The mindset of the most dangerous man is not random, because it's not about bad days or insecurity. It is a worldview, a system, a strategy. You can't outlove it. You can't fix it. You can't educate it into being safe. Therapy does not help men like this. Therapy, couples or individual, is not the place for abusive men. This isn't about confusion or immaturity, guys. This is about intention. And if you recognize pieces of what I'm saying in your partner, I am begging you, do not dismiss this. Do not explain it away. Stop talking about his childhood trauma and how his mom was mean to him, or how he just doesn't know how to love, because that's not what this is. The most dangerous men often start as the most charming men, right? The nice guy, but that mask drops slowly and the damage builds quietly and slowly. And by the time you see the whole picture, it feels impossible to escape. You might be stuck in a trauma bond, but you can escape. Now, before you go, subscribe and drop a comment. What part of this hit the hardest for you? Because I guarantee you that you are not the only one who's seen it.